Hey guys, oh my god, look how embarrassing this is. So I came on to talk to you this morning about Pmdd and hormones at the age of 34, and I cannot do the whole video sat like this whilst also driving, but yes, I dribbled coffee all down myself this morning. But you know, it's just real life. That's just what happens. It's not glamorous, this is just real. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you all because if I hadn't had so many conversations with friends and clients, and I mean open conversations, like real, open, raw, vulnerable conversations, I never would have come to the conclusion that I have. So I have suffered for the last, I'm gonna say like 2 years, maybe. I mean, James would probably say that's absolutely fucking rubbish. It's been way longer than that. You've been miserable. But I feel like the last 2 years, I just have struggled with moods, and like not even just like it fades into a bit of a mood. It's like the literally switch of a fucking, what is it? Click of a switch. Is that it? Like someone could be eating too loud and I'm like instantly fuming, or the noises are just too loud for me, and I just, there's just a lot of different things that would set me off, but for no real reason. Over the years I have been diagnosed, let me just sort this out, with depression. And I haven't taken anything for that, because you know when you're just like, I just don't think that I am. And then also at a later stage I went privately, and I wasn't overly open. I'm quite a closed person in certain subjects, believe it or not. And this time that I did this private call, I was like, there's got to be something wrong with me. This is not normal. I feel slightly mental. Anyway, and I was diagnosed with PMDD, and that is, I'm not actually sure of the longer word of it, but basically what that means is where you get your normal moods, PMT, around your period, around your cycle, I would get it for longer and a bit more extreme. But then I'm like, that's literally like half of the month that I feel like miserable as fuck, moody, not myself, but I am myself inside, but it wasn't outside. And I'm like, I can't live like that. Like half of my life basically I'm gonna be like that. Like really? And the only like treatment, oh god, this is really winding me up, this stain, was basically part-time antidepressants. And I was like, that's just not, it's not really a solution, is it? So I just have got on with it and whatever. Then it continues, and I have been the moods have always been a thing. Sometimes I'm like a split personality. I'm either like really nice, really hyped, really like, yeah, everything's great, or I'm like, yeah, it's all right, nothing really to be that overly happy about, and I literally don't have anything to be miserable about. Anyway, then I started feeling less, this is getting a little bit personal now, less, how can I put this without trying to be straight up? My sex drive wasn't what it used to be, and I was like, this is not normal for me. I'm 34 years old. Like, I mean, not that I was fucking rampant before, but like, you know, I fancy my husband still. Like, why was I not getting that, you know? Fucking hell. I actually can't believe I'm doing a video on this, but it's so important to me, because if I hadn't spoken about this, I wouldn't have come to the conclusion that I have. So continue and bear with me. So I was like, God, do you know what? Like, I fancy you though. Like, I still feel all of that, but why don't I not feel that? Weird. So then I was having a few conversations with one of the mums at the school. She's slightly older than me, and we took the kids out in the half term, and I must have had an argument with James about it because it was fresh on my mind. By the way, I'm not driving, I'm currently sat at a train thing, so this is safe. And I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, I just was open and just basically told her, and she was like, that sounds like something similar that I went through. And I was like, really? Now, for those of you that don't know, I've had IVF treatment 4 times for the children, and I only have 3 children, but I've had 4 rounds. And she was like, didn't you have IVF with the kids? And I was like, yeah. And she said, did you know that can, because of the hormones you're pumped with, that can cause an early onset of like menopause or perimenopause? And I was like, no way. I guess that makes sense. Also, like, it can be a hereditary thing. And my mum was always a miserable fucking... Anyway, so I thought maybe, I don't know when she went through that. I don't have contact with my mum. That's a different story. But I thought, okay, this is interesting. So she was like, listen, I went on estrogen patches and I'm aware that there is a lot of stigma around that. But she said, I went on estrogen patches and it totally changed my life. And I was like, I fucking need myself some estrogen patches, okay? So she was like, right, this is the doctor that I went to. It was someone in Windsor. It was a private doctor who specialises in women's hormones. I was like, right, I'm going. I called up that day and they offered me an appointment that day, which I was really surprised about. And I was like, yeah, fucking hell, I'll literally take it. She said to me, I had to answer all these questions around like periods, what are your periods like what are your symptoms, told her about the IVF, the sex drive, the everything. And she said, okay, we need to do full bloods and full hormone bloods. She said she was very kind. She said, I can do them for you, but they're going to cost you like £1,500. And I was like, okay. She was like, or you can go onto this website and you can order the blood tests to come and then bring them into the hospital. We take your bloods, but you send them off and it's going to cost you around £300 instead. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. So I under her guidance, ordered the things that I needed. They came next day. The blood tests for the hormones had to be taken around a certain point around your cycle, which I was actually at. So it was like, this was like, I'm talking 3 days before we went on holiday. So it was a proper rush because I didn't want to wait another month. And anyway, blood test came the next day. I went in, booked the blood test for the day after, posted them. This was literally the day before we went on holiday. I managed to post them the afternoon before we flew. And it was perfect because I'd just come on that day. Irritating that I'd just come on the day before holiday, but perfect for these blood tests. So she says, listen, something might show up and it doesn't mean that is the problem all the time, or nothing might show up. It doesn't mean there is no problem. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. She was like, the results are going to get emailed to you. I'm going to book you in for when you get back off holiday, bring the results and we'll go through them. Fine. So I get the results emailed to me a couple of days into the holiday. I'm not a doctor, so I had no fucking idea what any of them said. Put them into ChatGPT, whatever it's called, and said, explain this to me. So the full like blood check thing, not the hormone one, the other one, came back that my blood count was extremely low and that I was anemic. Now an extremely low iron level can cause tiredness, so extreme fatigue. I actually don't know any others. There's more symptoms, but obviously that would contribute to low moods and things like that. I was like, okay. And low folate or folic acid, or I think it's like the same thing. So that was on the blood test, and I was like, okay, at least there's something. And then the hormone one had a low testosterone level. Interesting. And I was like, thank the Lord. I actually felt so happy that something came up, because I was like, okay, this means that there's something wrong and hopefully it can be fixed. So I then had my appointment with her when I got back. She has put me on iron tablets, folic acid or folate tablets, whatever you fucking call them. And she has put me on progesterone. So progesterone is one of the medications for HRT, which is menopause. Now, whilst I'm not going through the menopause, I think that this suggests that I am perimenopausal. I get hot sweats at night. Not every night, but I do get them. Not just like, I know it's normal to get hot sweats when you're during your cycle, on your fucking period. It's not just then, it's sporadic all through the month. And I have itchy ears. Like, it's like I have hair in my ear. Like, you know, when you're like, oh, it feels like there's something in there, or like a fly. And I itch the inside of my ears. And I recently found out that is a sign. And I was like, no fucking way, I have that all the time. And yeah, so they put me on these progesterone tablets, and I have to take one progesterone it's basically 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So after on day 12, after my period, I start taking one a day, and I take it to day 26, then I stop, have a period, and then take again. So basically 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So I have to take all of these tablets, the progesterone, the iron, and the folic acid. I'm doing that for 3 months. I have 3 months worth. Then I go back to see her. We do the blood tests again, and we review the levels, and if there's anything extra that I need, if it's not quite worked, blah, blah, blah. You will all be happy to know that I'm not that far into it. I'm only probably like 5 days, and the progesterone is working a treat. I have a happy husband. And you know what? Listen, right? This is really personal, yeah, but without being crude or weird or whatever, like when we had the IVF treatment, James experienced the same as me. And it's hard as a couple. So I know how he was feeling with the lack of my drive. I know how that feels. I felt insecure. Oh my God, does he not fancy me? Am I doing something wrong? Is he getting it somewhere else? And so when I realised that we communicate quite well, I like to think, maybe I'll do a video on that. But we've been married 10 years now, and I do think we communicate. Sometimes it can take a little while, but we communicate well when we need to. And I agreed with him. Like, what is the difference? I look like such a cunt with this. What is the difference between friends and being in a healthy marriage if there's no sex? Now, I'm not talking like there was none. It was maybe like once or twice a month before, and for some people that's normal and that's fine and that's great, but for us that wasn't normal. And I didn't want him to feel shit. I didn't want him to feel shit because it wasn't anything to do with him. I did still find him attractive. He is fucking hot, yeah. And now he's doing it for me again a lot. And do you know what? I just felt like it was really important to share, because then I went on and had further conversations with customers, and I feel like if someone had shared that with me sooner, or if I hadn't have had that conversation with that mum, I would have just thought, well, it's just PMDD, I'm just moody, like maybe I'm just a shitty person, maybe I'm unhappy, what's wrong with my life, I don't know. So by talking and by sharing experiences, it can help so much, like so much. And I'm aware this has gone really dark. I don't think I can do anything about that. No. But I listen, you have sex as much as you want to have sex. And if you want to have sex once a year and it works for you, there's nothing wrong with that. But if it doesn't work for you, then maybe there's something wrong. And so I go back in 3 months. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in these next 3 months. So far, I don't know if it's a fad. I don't know if it's like, oh, well, I know these tablets are meant to make me feel better, and I do feel better. I don't know. So let's see how the next 3 months goes. If any of you are interested, I'm more than happy to make this a bit of a journey, because it's really interesting for me. But I do feel relieved, and it was really interesting that apparently the treatment, correct me if I'm wrong, for HRT is estrogen and progesterone. So the fact that I'm on one of them, I just find it crazy that we're just sometimes fobbed off, maybe through the lack of knowledge, I don't know, with our symptoms, and they may never get fixed. And if you don't fix something like that in a relationship, then I think what can happen, you know, you think, oh, well, maybe it's the kids, you know, we have 3 children, 2 of them are really young, like life's stressful, we both work full time, it's just stress. I'm just stressed, have a lot on, and I'm like, I like to be stressed, I do have a lot on, but I thrive off of that. But I think that sometimes you can just go along with it and just make these excuses, and then maybe if I'd have ignored it, or maybe when people ignore it and the kids get older, you have more time with each other, but because you've neglected that, maybe, I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm going to go with that, neglected that part of the relationship, or just the relationship in general, because that sort of thing can drive people apart, especially if you ignore it and you feel embarrassed by it and you don't want to fix it, or you don't know how. So because you're embarrassed, you don't do anything, and then the situation tumbleweeds, and then you're like, maybe I'm not happy, or he might have said, you know, this is not working for me, or then cheating comes into it, because it's like, I love you, but I fucking need that fix of like, I want to feel desired. Like, that's so normal. Anyway, here I am. So I think it's really common that these things can happen, and it's not something I wanted to happen. James and I, like, we don't have any help with the kids or anything, and it's hard to make time for each other. We do try and go out for dinners when we can, but we don't get like, I've never had a holiday with James by myself, like, and whilst that's fine and we get on with it, like, I can't wait. Like, I don't want to wish the time of the kids away, and I don't wish that they were loads older. But I can't wait to be able to do those things with James. And now, like, I just feel excited for our relationship again. We're not perfect, as I've just clearly admitted, but we do work well together, and I think that he is incredible as a person, and he's gonna love this if he watches this. He is the most incredible man I've ever come across in my life. James, if you're watching this, it's true. And I want to make sure that I can be the best version of myself for him. So hurrah for the progesterone. I'm going to keep you posted if you want to know. If any of you have any questions, as you can see, I've been extremely open. So ask me, ask away. If I can help another person feel better, then I'm going to do it. And yeah, so actually I said we don't have any help. Our friends, they're more like family than friends, but our friends are coming over this weekend to have the kids. We have 2 nights away. Lucky it's come at a good time, but we don't really have much planned. So we go tonight. We're just going to stay in London for 2 nights. So we'll go out for dinner tonight. I don't know where, haven't booked anything, go for some drinks. And then tomorrow we just said maybe we just browse around London, do a bit of shopping. I don't know, just have a day together. And then we've got dinner booked on Saturday night, and then we're going to come home Sunday, like mid-morning. By that point we'll probably feel uber guilty and be home in a rush. So I will bring you along on that journey with me and James, and I am gonna see if I can convince him to do some questions on this from maybe a man's perspective. But interestingly, when we had the IVF and we had to go see this doctor for James, the doctor had said that when men also get to a certain age, that he believed that men go through something similar to menopause, like what is it, T something, basically testosterone replacement, TRT, is it TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and he believes that a man's testosterone can also do the same, and that's when that they should seek help, and they may need some form of that. So it works both ways, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm just fucking so happy that I was recommended to this person. She's hopefully been able to help me, and I'm got my fingers crossed, and I feel really positive about the next few months. So I am going to be aware, and I am going to do research if I then need the estrogen patches as well, because I have heard different things and different opinions from different people, which, while that's good, I want to make my own decision if that's something that she says I need. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. So maybe I don't have Pmdd, and I'm not depressed. I just maybe have hit an early perimenopause level. So that's my story. I hope if I can just help even one person, then it was worth it.